What's going on, guys? Chuck here. As you can tell by the festive hat, I'm here to talk about Christmas movies. The Christmas movies that I enjoy watching every year for the holiday season. Now, like many of you, I have go-tos that I will watch annually, and not just the classics, the obvious ones, the Rankin and Bass, the Rudolph, Frosty, Santa Claus is coming to town, those kind of things. Obviously, that's a staple for young and old alike. But I wanted to focus on something a little maybe out of the ordinary. Obviously, I don't want to talk about the major ones. I mean, A Christmas Story is a given. I think whether you want to or not, you're watching A Christmas Story for Christmas because it's everywhere somewhere. So that's not going to be on this list. I wanted to kind of show you something a little more obscure Christmas holiday titles that I like to watch annually. So again, no Christmas Story on this list. No Muppet Christmas Carol, although that is a staple every Christmas morning in this household. And those are fantastic films, and I will watch them. But I wanted to, again, focus on something maybe a little out of the ordinary, the ones that aren't rarely talked about, and maybe some of them are for you guys. I don't know. But these are ones I like to watch every year that I think should get some recognition and love. And some may be a little weird out there. Some are like, maybe one or two are obvious ones. We'll see. But let's get started. First one up is a Steve Martin classic. Well, a Steve Martin film, and that is Mixed Nuts. Now, this is a cute little comedy with a stellar all-star cast. I mean, you've got, besides Steve Martin, you've got Madeline Kahn, Robert Klein, Juliette Lewis, Rob Reiner, Adam Sandler, Rita Wilson, Gary Shandling plays, kind of a swarmy character. You got Liev Schreiber playing a cross-dresser, which is, hilarious. Excuse me, a transvestite was listed here. Let me get my wording right. But the back here says, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, the only creatures stirring were a transvestite, a homicidal Santa, a serial killer, the staff of a suicide hotline, and a very crazy pregnant woman." Now, if that doesn't say Christmas, I don't know what does. Dysfunction all around. But it's a cute little, comedy. Good cast. It is like I said before. It takes, obviously takes place around the Christmas season. It's not really thought of much, or heard about, but I think it's one that's really worth a watch. And I love Steve Martin. I can watch him in just about anything. And this is cute. It's fun. But I highly recommend you check this out. Like I said, the description they put in the back doesn't really do it justice. There's a cute little story. And again, it's got an ensemble cast, and I am a sucker for an ensemble cast of any kind. I mean, I love big groups of characters together, in one movie, especially with something, an ensemble cast and a film and a plot story that's like over a period of one day or one night, something like that. I just entirely enjoy that. I find it fascinating. But Mixed Nuts. Next up is something for the holiday lover and the romance lover. And that would be Love Actually. Now, this one may be an obvious one for some people. Not everyone. And I'm going to come out right now and let you know I do love a good romantic comedy. I'm not afraid to say that. I enjoy a good romantic comedy. And again, what this has going for it that I really like is the huge ensemble all-star cast. And on top of the ensemble all-star cast, what it's got that I really enjoy are when the characters have their own individual storylines, and find ways to intermingle with the other characters. So it's like a big group, and they kind of just coexist. They all know each other. Somehow they're crossing paths with one another. I always enjoy stories like that. Going back to like Grand Hotel, this is Love Actually. Even it works in a lot of horror anthologies. Trick or Treat comes to mind. That's got a great ensemble cast with stories that interweave. Creepshow 3, which is a horrible, horrible film. Awful film. do not watch it. But the one thing I didn't like about Creepshow 3, the only thing I liked about Creepshow 3, was that it had, these an ensemble cast with these different stories that, kind of interwove together. Now, those were a separate story. This isn't really quite like an anthology, obviously. There's different plot line stories that all cross together, but I like how these characters all, in one way or another, know each other, they interact with each other, they cross paths with each other, and it's just a sweet, sweet movie. Now, the downside of this, which really isn't a downside, but you get, All I Want for Christmas playing in it. I think this was made famous. I think this came out before Mariah Carey. Maybe she made it more popular after this. I'm not sure what the timeline is, or maybe she did it first. I don't know. But it's in this. It's in the climax of this movie. So there's that. But don't hold out against it. It's a very, very, very good movie. I highly recommend this if you don't already watch this. Last year my wife and I we wrapped presents and watched this movie together. This is a fun movie. It's a sweet movie. I really highly recommend checking this out for Christmas if you're a romantic lover. Yeah. Next up is kind of a bit of a cheat, if you will. It's kind of a twofer in a weird sense, and this is one of those ones I talked about being kind of off the beaten path, and that would be Mystery Science Theater 3000's episode of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. This is actually the Essentials set, which included Santa Claus Conquers the Martians and Manos the Hands of Fate. This was the old Rhino release. I believe Shout Factory has reprinted this. But I absolutely love Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. And it was their first Christmas episode they ever did. And, and it's always a fun watch. I just really, really enjoy it. I've seen it so many times, the jokes just kind of flow. I can almost repeat them at verbatim, but it's very fun. And it's just a weird movie. The concept of Santa Claus versus the Martians is strange in itself, but when you throw riffing behind it, it gets even better. So this, again, this has been quintessential viewing for me for years and years. It's like not one Christmas goes by that I do not watch Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. If you haven't seen Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, I recommend you check it out. It is available out there by itself. The actual film, that might be hard to watch. I recommend watching it as a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, or if you can get the Riff Tracks live version, because they did that, and that was really good. That was the uncut film, because this is a little cut up, obviously to fit the 2-hour TV slot, but the Riff Tracks live which was all different jokes, which is nice. And there's a lot more Merlin stuff in that. No, that's in Santa Claus, but they did this one too. So I'll get to that in a minute. there's a lot more, probably more Drapo. There you go. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Riff Tracks with 100% more Drapo, and you can't go wrong with that. Now, the next one up is the second half of my cheat, and that was another Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, which I just mentioned, and that is Santa Claus. This is a weird, wacky Mexican Santa Claus movie, which most of you who are probably watching this, you're probably familiar with this, but for the few of you who are not, you've got the concept of Santa Claus battling the devil, or Pitch, as he's called, with assistance from Merlin and a bunch of little kids, including Pedro, which is just a whole weird thing in itself. I don't have the words, but it is a fantastic bad movie, and these guys do it great. It's like pretty much the second and only the second Christmas episode that I think Mr. Science Theory did. And what's great about these two films is that the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is a Joel episode, and Santa Claus is a Mike episode. So you get to get the holiday season from both perspectives, if you will. And again, the Riff Tracks did a live version of this also, with all different jokes and the uncut film, and that one has 100% more Merlin in it. So, either way, grab one of those. But I don't recommend watching Santa Claus unriffed, because that could be very, very hard to get through. And this is available in the Shout Factory Volume 16 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Next up is another kind of cheat. It's 3 films, and that is the Tim Allen Santa Claus collection. I love this entire series. These movies are so much fun. Tim Allen is so good as Santa Claus, and I just love the whole concept of Santa's being replaced as long as someone else puts on the coat of a deceased Santa, which is weird in that regard. But the movies are they have so much heart. They're so sweet. They're so fun, especially 2 and 3. They're so wacky when you start getting into the what do they call it? The oh my god, not imaginary figure. Legendary figures. That's it. Legendary figures with like Mother Nature, Father Time, the Sandman, Cupid, Easter Bunny. Who else is there's another? The Tooth Fairy. It gets wacky, but it's still fun and it's still sweet. And these are just every year I gotta watch these films. I absolutely love them. A couple weeks ago, we actually went to a local, well, not our local, but historic theater in Franklin, Indiana. The Historic Art Craft Theater. It's about turned 100 years old. It's a very nice old theater. And they actually had a screening of the Santa Claus in 35 millimeter, which was so much fun to go see on the, which I did see it when it originally released. I think it's the only one I did get to see in the theater was the first one. But to see it again and take my kids to see it was great. And like I said, these movies are just fun. And my daughter, she loves the Santa Claus 3. She really loves the Jack Frost character, and Mark Short does a fantastic job as Jack Frost. He's a highlight of that film. But again, quintessential viewing in this home the holiday season. And again, this is the Blu-ray box set. It has all 3 films. I got it for relatively good price. So if you're interested, you can probably find it on Amazon still, or maybe you find it in a couple, maybe some secondhand stores even. But I highly recommend getting this. If you've never seen a Santa Claus, you're missing out. Check this out. Check all 3 of them out. They're all a lot of fun. They're great holiday fun. They have so much heart. They're sweet and they're a blast. So check those out. Next up was one I just added to the list last year, and it's not because it's a recent movie, but it's an older film. I think it came out originally like 1985, and I remember when it did come out, there was a lot of marketing behind this film. It was a huge marketing blitz. I mean, you saw this promoted everywhere at the time, and then it just kind of died out. I don't know really what happened to it. I admit to not seeing it myself at that time. Maybe bits and pieces of it, but it kind of faded out of memory. But it was one I always wanted to catch. And then this last year, right around Christmas, I went ahead and got it on Amazon Prime and watched it and thought, oh my gosh, why has no one ever talked about this movie? How has this gone overlooked? It's such a sweet film. I mean, a little hokey, but it was really good. That movie is Santa Claus, the movie, starring Dudley Moore. This, I think, is an overlooked gem of a film. Its biggest strength is it's got a great heart to it. I love the idea of the origin of Santa Claus. He is a humble toy maker who's chosen to become what eventually will be Santa Claus. It's just so, like I said, it's got so much heart. It's so sweet, and it's the beginning of those little vignettes of basically how the lore is built upon. And you've got Dudley Moore's like an inspiring elf who's looking for, I guess, more respect and other things like that. That's kind of off the beat, off the whole point. You got John Lithgow, who plays a really mustache twirling, over the top, ridiculous villain, and that kind of takes away, from the film. But again, the heart of it is the spirit of Santa Claus himself, what he means to people, to children especially. I love watching the origin, again, like I said, of Santa Claus, and that's the heart of this film. The evil corporate toy sponsor or whatever, that's bleh. But the portrayal of Santa Claus and the story of Santa's beginnings, that's what you want to catch this movie for. And it's fun. And it's done by the producer of this film, or Ilya and Alexander Salkind, of course, who are most known for doing the Christopher Reeve Superman films, at least the first three. So you know there's a big spectacle in this, and it shows. And again, this was marketed heavily with merchandising everywhere when it first came out. I remember that, but again, I guess no one saw the film, but didn't get good reviews, whatever the case. But I don't think it gets the love it deserves looking at it now. Has it got flaws? Sure. But there's something about it that's still really sweet. I think it's worth a watch. I really enjoyed it, and I've added it to my list as of last year, and I recommend you check it out and make a decision for yourself. But I think it's worth your time. Now, finally, on this list, and this is one that's probably pretty common and pretty popular. It's not really an off the beat track. I'm saying that a lot. It's not a strange, weird choice. It's fairly common. But it's also a movie that I think is just now starting to come around as to being popular and somewhat traditional Christmas favorite from a lot of people. Because when it first came out, it split a lot of people. And that, of course, is The Grinch. Or it says here, Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but this is The Grinch, the Jim Carrey film. This is special to me because my wife and I, this was like one of our first dates, if you will, when we were just starting to get to know each other way back when, obviously when this movie came out. And it's always been memorable for the both of us. So it's, we both look forward to watching this every year because it's very special to us. And it's a fun movie. I don't care what anybody says about it. Oh, they expanded the story way too much and made it ridiculous. I don't care because Jim Carrey is so much fun to watch. He is obviously the backbone of this film. He makes this film completely. Without him, it tanks. But he just makes it so much fun, and he's just doing Jim Carrey things and it works so well. I mean, the character he created, the Grinch he created, has now become a mainstay for Christmas and a Christmas icon. I mean, obviously the animated cartoon has always been an icon itself, but even the Jim Carrey Grinch has become so popular. I think just a year or two ago, they had another animated version with Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't think that took off anywhere near in popularity as this has, which is funny because I think, and what I saw, it was good, but I think it's funny because it's kind of, I think some people are looking at that Grinch and saying, well, it's not as the Jim Carrey one, in some regards, and maybe the same way that when this version came out, I said, well, that's not, the Grinch through Stole Christmas that I grew up with. So these things are cyclical. I can speak. But people are fickle. But it's still a lot of fun. My daughter loves this one too. She loves The Grinch so much that she makes me do this voice for her all the time when she watches it. Which I enjoy doing it for her because it's my daughter. But this again, so much fun. It's not really a wild out there pick for most people. I'm sure it's pretty commonplace now. But it is this very special one to me, like I said. So, if you've seen it once and didn't care for it, I recommend giving it another try. If you've seen it a lot, you enjoy it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, definitely a annual pick in this house to watch every Christmas. So, that is that. A little long-winded. But those are, a lot of the films that I like to watch that are kind of not the norm. But I do watch the usual ones. I mean, of course, we always watch Christmas Story. Like I said, Mother Christmas Carol. There's a few other ones we work in there. You've got your It's a Wonderful Life and, stuff like that. But I thought it'd be, why not? Everybody watches those. Let's see what's a little bit different that nobody else watches. So, that being said, if you like this, click that thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know, are any of these movies on your watch list for the holidays? What are some of your more obscure holiday viewing habits, if you will? Do you like any of these movies? Have you seen all these movies? Or are there some movies that you wish you had seen? Do you have any memories of Santa Claus the movie? Do you even know Santa Claus the movie? Whatever the case may be, just let me know. So Christmas is right around the corner as of this recording. So let me just say that wherever you are, whatever you believe, I'm wishing you all the happiest, safest, and best of holidays. And I hope you're enjoying it with family, loved ones, and you're watching as much Christmas films as you can. And just be safe, happy, and be good to each other. So, with that much said, this is Chuck saying Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever else I may have missed, Happy, Merry, all to you. Until next time, this is Chuck. Take it easy.